The man who texted "be right back" and vanished forever. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button, because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a digital ghost that still haunts the world today. A man, a message, and a mystery that no one, not even the FBI, has ever been able to explain. It was a quiet Friday night in late October 2018 when Michael Torres, a 32-year-old software engineer from Austin, Texas, sent the last text anyone would ever receive from him. It read simply, "Be right back." The timestamp was 9:52 p.m. He never came back. Michael wasn't the type to disappear. Friends described him as reliable, methodical, the kind of man who lived by his routines. He woke up at 6:30, ran 3 miles, and never left a text unanswered. He wasn't flashy or reckless, just another ordinary guy living an ordinary life. That Friday had been long. He'd finished coding a project for a client, logged off at 8:47 p.m., and messaged his girlfriend, Jenna Clark, saying, "Pizza and movie tonight?" She replied with a heart emoji. At 9:50 p.m., he texted again, "Be right back. Gonna grab something from the car." Security footage from his apartment complex shows him leaving his unit, wearing jeans, a hoodie, and flip-flops. He's holding his phone in his right hand. He walks toward the parking lot, glances briefly toward the street, and then disappears off camera. That was the last confirmed sighting of Michael Torres. When Jenna arrived 20 minutes later, the pizza was cold on the counter, and Michael's laptop was still open. She waited, assuming he'd run into a neighbor. But by 11:30 p.m., she called his phone. It went straight to voicemail. His car was still in the lot, locked. The next morning, Jenna filed a missing person report. Police treated it as routine at first. Adults disappear all the time. But within hours, things didn't add up. Michael's wallet and keys were on his kitchen counter. His credit cards hadn't been used. His phone was turned off at 9:54 p.m., just 2 minutes after the "be right back" text. Detective Lance O'Neill of the Austin Police Department led the investigation. "It was like chasing a shadow," he said later. One minute he's there, and the next, nothing. Police reviewed every camera in a 2-mile radius. No trace. No license plate matches. No signs of struggle. The footage simply ended, Michael walking out into darkness. Then came the first strange clue. A traffic camera near Riverside Drive, a half-mile from his apartment, caught a blurry image of what looked like Michael's silhouette at 10:06 p.m. He was crossing the street alone, heading toward a wooded area by the river. That area, known locally as Shoal Creek Park, was poorly lit and notorious for spotty cell service. Search teams combed it for days. Drones, dogs, divers, nothing. Not a shoe, not a phone, not a footprint. It was as if he'd walked into the woods and simply vanished. The case went public after a week. News outlets ran his picture. A clean-cut guy with dark hair, a faint smile, and steady eyes. The headline read, "Tech worker vanishes after texting girlfriend, be right back." Jenna was devastated. She appeared in multiple interviews, pleading, if anyone saw him, please call the police. He wouldn't just leave. But privately, she told detectives something she hadn't shared with the media. For weeks before his disappearance, Michael had been acting nervous. He'd mentioned strange emails from an anonymous sender, subject lines like, "You don't belong there, and it's not safe at night." Jenna had laughed it off. Spam, probably. But 3 days before he vanished, he told her someone had been following him after work. At 7:14 p.m. on October 26th, the same night he disappeared, Michael's coworker Derek Yates reported that he left the office unusually early, looking pale and distracted. "He told me he thought someone hacked his Wi-Fi at home," Derek said. Investigators subpoenaed Michael's digital records. That's when the story deepened. On his laptop, police found an encrypted folder labeled Project Blackbird. Inside were several files, strings of code, GPS coordinates, and something that looked like a series of surveillance logs. The timestamps corresponded to locations across Austin, including his own apartment. Digital forensics experts later confirmed Michael had been tracking a Bluetooth signal that didn't belong to any of his devices. It kept reappearing near his home, his gym, even his office parking lot, always late at night. Whoever or whatever it was, Michael was trying to trace it. Detectives tried to decrypt the data, but most of it was corrupted. Still, one recovered file contained a chilling entry. If I go missing, it's connected to this. Check device 7F21. It's not a coincidence. Device 7F21 referred to a Bluetooth beacon, the kind used in modern security cameras and smart trackers. When police searched Michael's apartment again, they discovered one hidden behind his TV, a small black square no bigger than a coin, wedged into the wall socket. It wasn't his. The manufacturer traced the device back to a limited batch distributed to a private surveillance firm in Dallas, Red Hawk Security Systems. The company denied any connection to Michael or his building. But 2 months earlier, someone had placed an online order for 5 identical devices under the name Eric Langford. Payment: a prepaid debit card. Untraceable. Detective O'Neill believed Michael discovered the bug, tried to identify its origin, and whoever planted it realized he was onto them. Then, in February 2019, 4 months after the disappearance, a jogger near Shoal Creek found a cracked smartphone half buried in mud. The case was shattered, but the lock screen image was unmistakable. Michael and Jenna, smiling. The phone was sent to the FBI's cyber unit. After weeks of analysis, they recovered one voice memo, timestamped at 9:53 p.m., just 1 minute after his last text. Michael's voice, tense and hurried. "It's 9:53. I think he's here again. I see." Then static. The file ends abruptly, with faint rustling, like footsteps, and what sounds like a car door slamming. The audio reignited the case. Detectives pulled vehicle records from nearby traffic cameras between 9:50 and 10:10 p.m. One stood out. A black 2015 Chevy Suburban, seen idling on the street outside Michael's building at exactly 9:51 p.m. The plates traced back to a rental agency in Fort Worth. The rental contract, signed by the same alias, Eric Langford. When FBI agents visited the agency, the employee confirmed the man who picked it up was in his mid-40s, short hair, wearing a Red Hawk security jacket. But here's where it gets stranger. Red Hawk Security had filed for bankruptcy in 2017, 2 years before Michael's disappearance. The entire company had ceased operations. Its founder, a man named Eric Langford, who'd vanished himself after being accused of illegal surveillance. Police realized they were chasing a ghost. Over the next few months, sightings poured in. Someone claimed to have seen Michael in San Antonio, another in El Paso, but none were verified. Each lead ended the same way. Static silence, dead ends. Then, in June 2020, nearly 2 years later, a hiker discovered skeletal remains near the outskirts of Shoal Creek Park. The coroner confirmed it. Michael Torres. Cause of death: inconclusive. No gunshot wounds, no blunt trauma. But here's the detail that still chills investigators. His right wrist was broken, as if he'd fallen or fought to escape something, and lodged deep inside the pocket of his hoodie was a second Bluetooth tracker. When powered, it emitted a faint signal, one word displayed repeatedly on its network name: Blackbird. Authorities ruled his death undetermined. Officially, there was no suspect, no motive, no closure. Jenna still lives in Austin. She keeps Michael's final text pinned at the top of her phone: "Be right back." She told reporters she replays it every year, wondering what those last 2 minutes were like. Detective O'Neill retired last spring. In his final interview, he said, "You chase these cases long enough, you start to understand something. People disappear in 2 ways, physically and digitally. The first one we can sometimes explain. The second one we never do." Today, Michael's case sits in the FBI's cold files, coded as Incident 9-52A. Occasionally, internet sleuths still analyze the footage, convinced they can see movement in the shadows behind him in that final frame. But like all ghost signals, it only raises more questions than answers. The footage ends the same way it always has: Michael walking into the dark, his phone glowing in his hand, the world still believing he'd be right back. But he never was. If this story left you speechless, hit subscribe and stay tuned, because next, we'll uncover the mystery of the vanishing on Highway 19, where what police missed for 5 years changed everything.